first, we kick off the hour with a start and focus on Washington. After Democrats came down from initially proposed $2.3 trillion package, Republicans are upping their offer, the new counterproposal coming in at $928 billion over the course of 8 years. That's up from an original $568 billion counterproposal and includes compromises to boost spending on traditional infrastructure like roads and bridges and water systems. And while the gap is narrowing, there's still disagreements over how the government would pay for the plan, with the Republicans wanting to redirect some funds from federal COVID aid. And here for more on that, happy to be joined here by Alabama Republican Senator Tommy Tuberville, alongside Yahoo Finance's Washington reporter Jessica Smith, also joining us here. Senator, thanks for coming on. Appreciate the time. I mean, we're in a back and forth stage here. So how should Americans be looking at this latest Republican counterproposal?
Well, this is interesting. There's a lot of action up here on the Hill today. And of course, we're getting ready to go into the Memorial Day weekend and recess. But it's back and forth with the White House. We've got several groups working on this new proposal. But the big thing is we can't raise taxes to do this. And it's got to be real infrastructure. It's moving in the right direction. But we cannot continue to add social programs. We have got to add true infrastructure. And that's what the Republicans are looking for. If we get true infrastructure, we'll jump all over it because we kicked the can down the road for so long. We have got to do something for the American taxpayers. We're spending money on things that American taxpayers aren't going to be benefited from. Infrastructure will really help the economy and this country.
Hi, Senator. Jessica Smith here. The Biden administration says that it wants to focus, in addition to those physical infrastructure projects, on things like clean energy and other investments in the power sector. How, in particular, are those kind of measures not traditional infrastructure in your view? Why would you not want to include things like clean energy, other investments in the power sector in a proposal like this?
I think those proposals in the future, they might have some meat to them, so to speak. But for us right now, to get our economy back after this pandemic, to get commerce going, to get people back to work, we have got to do real infrastructure. For years, I've been in education and watching what's going on, and we've kicked this can down the road for so long. We have 16,000 bridges in Alabama. 10,000 of them are condemned. Our roads have potholes. Our trucks, big trucks going down the road, they're having huge problems with, just their machines tearing up, and it's going to get worse and worse. All those other things you talked about are important, but there's nothing more important than real infrastructure.
But Senator, to follow up on Jess's point, why is that not considered infrastructure? If we're talking about some of these climate initiatives, whether it's building out the power grid to support the transition that's happening in green energy, charging stations, why is that not considered infrastructure?
Well, charging stations are going to be fine, but we've got to have the cars for the need for that right now. Inflation is really kicking us hard right now. But the thing about it is all those things you're talking about are going to be funded. This is we're halfway point of the $7.1 trillion that President Biden wants to fund this year. Where's all that money going? It will all be funded, but if we're going to do something for the taxpayers and for the people to get this country going again, the economic part, the commerce, we have to do infrastructure. I mean, that's kind of like blocking and tackling in football. I mean, if you don't teach blocking and tackling, all those plays or defenses you run don't work. You have to have the basic structure of infrastructure. And, at one time we were really on the path to it, and then we just stopped. We absolutely stopped. We have got to get back to the basics of this country, and that's having true infrastructure and getting it back to where our commerce can really thrive. We need to build a bridge, for instance, down in Mobile, Alabama, that connects the east to west. It takes 45 minutes to get through that bridge right now because of the traffic, the trucks, all these different trucks now that are on the highways, Amazon, FedEx. It's getting really congested. We have to pick it up in terms of getting our infrastructure right so we can increase our economy.
Senator, there does not seem to be much movement on how to pay for this. Republicans do not want to raise taxes. The Biden administration does want to raise taxes on corporations. How do you find a compromise here when the two sides just see this so differently right now?
Yeah, well, there's a couple of things that Republicans are not going to bite on to pass this. Number one, we're going to have to keep the Jobs Act of 2017, President Trump. It saved money, put people back to work. It put money in people's pocket. It picked up our economy. So that's one thing that we will not cancel. The other things are we have got to make sure that we're balanced on how we do this with the money. Now, we've already passed, 1.9 trillion this year in one bill through reconciliation. Almost $1 trillion of that money has not been spent or won't be spent for 5, 6, 7, 8 years. What we're wanting to do is repurpose a lot of that money that we've already passed to put in this $1 trillion infrastructure bill. We can't continue to spend our grandkids and our great grandkids' money. So we're all aboard on this. We want to help the American people, and we're not fighting the Democrats on infrastructure. We're looking at how infrastructure is defined, and we are not going to be for raising taxes on the American people right now during a pandemic when a lot of people are out of jobs.
Yeah, Senator, I mean, it does seem like there could be a chance we could see Democrats go through with reconciliation again to pass this. So, looking out at this, you could see Republicans playing with fire here because this negotiations could fall apart. What would you make of maybe Democrats potentially looking to do that this time around?
Well, they're going to do another reconciliation anyway. So what we're trying to do is take that out of the scenario. Say, listen, let's put a priority through infrastructure of this country. We know eventually you're going to pass another reconciliation bill. That's the reason they know they can spend like $7 trillion this year coming up. They've got another one, maybe two more once we get past September the 1st. But we're willing, without reconciliation, to do a true infrastructure bill, knowing that in the future, they're going to do what they want to anyway. They've got the votes. We can't block it. So let's involve bipartisanship, have true infrastructure, do it the right way, have everybody on board, and let the American people know that we're up here working for them and not working against each other.
I wanted to switch gears a bit and talk about legislation that you've recently introduced that would keep the retirement plan for federal employees from investing in companies based in China. Why is this something that you think is necessary? And do you think this is something that can get bipartisan support and make it to the president's desk?
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt it can get bipartisan support. Here's the thing that we need to do. We need to, number one, let the American people know that we're doing something to stop the Chinese from using our economy to build up their economy and their military. We need to show the corporations, this company, listen, we are doing the things that we need to do. You need to help us slow China down in terms of their economy and their military. So prohibiting the TSP, the Thrift Savings Plan Investment in China Act, is very important. And again, it's about 6 million people, military and all us civilian public workers, which include me and Congress. We don't want our investment money to go into China. And so President Trump and Larry Kudlow this time last year blocked it through a 5-man panel, said, listen, we're not going to put pension money from the government workers in our military and support the military of China. You can put it in anything else, but you're not going to put it in China and invest our 401k. So that's pretty much what it is. You can't trust the Chinese businesses. They commit corporate espionage. They do everything possible to do things around the corner. And we put $700 billion in that. I mean, we're really rolling the dice in terms of where's that money going, who's using it, are we going to be able to get a good return on it when there's a lot of other companies in this country that we could get a good return on.
Senator, I'm trying to understand where the line is on this one. What about investing in American companies who do business in China?
Well, that's a fine line because most every company in this country does work with China in some point. But the point that we want to do is we want to move it in the right direction to where we don't work directly with the companies. This bill is about directly working with companies in China, not American companies that have American names, have their corporate headquarters here. We're talking about companies that have Chinese headquarters in China that benefit wholly from the money that goes to them.
Yeah, tricky issue here to tease out. Federal funds, workers, pension funds here, and companies obviously interacting in China. Everything's kind of meshed together here. But Alabama Senator Tommy Tuberville, appreciate you coming on here to chat alongside Yahoo Finance's Jessica Smith. Be well, Senator. Thanks again for the time.